Think courtroom drama is just for TV? Think again, because Jackie Christie just turned real life into primetime chaos. In a move no one could have predicted, the self-proclaimed Ms. I Run This reportedly threatened the judge handling her own case inside the courtroom. And the best part? Cameras were rolling the entire time, and she had no clue. Honestly, who needs a streaming subscription when reality is out here outshining a Shonda Rhimes cliffhanger? Was it bold confidence, sheer panic, or just another wild chapter in the whirlwind that is Jackie Christie? Imagine believing you're above it all, only to discover the courtroom's security system recorded every whispered threat in crisp, unforgiving HD. This isn't just a little gossip. It's the whole Starbucks menu dumped all over the courthouse floor. And just when you think it can't get messier, it does. Jackie's entire empire hangs in the balance, but now Doug Christie's quiet unraveling behind the scenes is grabbing its own spotlight. How bad did it get? Let's just say the insider tips, anonymous leaks, and accidentally surfaced footage are about to shatter the internet. Get your popcorn ready, because this isn't just messy, it's Jackie Christie. Messy, and buckle up, because things are about to spiral. Picture this. You're in a courtroom, the tension practically humming in the air, thick enough to slice through. The judge is laying down the law, emphasizing respect and order, when suddenly, a voice slices through the silence, sharp and unmistakably menacing. And who's behind it? None other than Jackie Christie herself. Yes, that Jackie Christie, the Real Housewives icon with a reputation for setting fires, not putting them out. With a fiery temper and unpredictable behavior, Jackie Christie is no stranger to controversy. But that day in court, it was so shocking that even the most seasoned courtroom veterans were left speechless. Facing serious charges, Jackie didn't just bring her usual drama, she took it to a whole new level. She threatened him. Yes, you heard that right. The same woman who's known for losing her cool on national TV was now causing a storm in real life, and she didn't even realize she was being filmed. As the hearing went on, Jackie's frustration became impossible to ignore. Her face showed a mix of anger and desperation as she launched into wild claims about how the media, her family, and even the justice system had wronged her. But when the judge began addressing her charges more seriously, the tension in the room only grew. It was clear that things were about to escalate. Jackie's patience was running out, and it didn't take long for her to snap. She began muttering to herself, but not quietly. She made sure to speak loud enough for everyone to hear. Unfortunately for her, the courtroom was equipped with hidden microphones that caught every word. "Does he really think he can talk to me like that?" she whispered, just barely audible to the human ear. But those microphones captured every single syllable. "He needs to watch himself. There are people who can make problems disappear." Yes, you heard that right, Jackie. Christie, in her infinite wisdom, thought she could threaten a judge and get away with it. She thought she could make threats without anyone knowing. Well, guess what? The world found out. For those unfamiliar with Jackie Christie, she has a reputation for public meltdowns, often losing her cool on reality TV, throwing tantrums that would make a toddler seem composed. But this time, it was different. This wasn't just reality TV. This was real life, and the consequences were potentially far worse than any reunion special. The first sign things were spiraling came when Jackie leaned over to a member of her entourage. They exchanged a few words, and what happened next was nothing short of shocking. Jackie's voice, now dripping with venom, hissed, "If that judge doesn't watch out, I'll make sure he never sits in that chair again." At that moment, the courtroom went dead silent, but not the dramatic kind of silence you might expect. It was more like the tense stillness before a storm breaks. Did she really just say that? Oh yes, she did. And it wasn't subtle. Those present could feel the energy shift, as if the very air in the room had become thick with the weight of what was about to unfold. Chaos erupted. But remember, this wasn't just a quiet remark between friends. This was a direct threat, and those microphones were picking up every word. The judge, a seasoned legal professional, tried his best to stay composed, but you could see the sweat beginning to form on his forehead as he scanned the room, clearly trying to figure out who had just delivered such a damning statement. "Court, Staff exchanged uneasy glances, and it was crystal clear. Jackie Christie had just made one of the biggest mistakes of her life. But here's the real kicker. Jackie Christie had no idea she was being recorded. That's right. Amid her tirade, she still believed she was in control, playing her usual untouchable role. But little did she know, those words had already escaped into the world. So, what did she do next? Naturally, she tried to laugh it off, acting as if it was all just a misunderstanding. "I was just talking to my assistant," she claimed. But by then, the damage was done. The media had already caught wind of it, and social media exploded with reactions, with users quick to call out her actions. Threatening a judge in court? Is she serious? One tweet read, capturing the shock of many. Others were just as appalled. "This woman is a walking disaster." The hashtag #Jackie threatens. The judge quickly went viral, with people flocking to their screens to catch every bit of gossip surrounding what could become the biggest legal scandal of the year. But the real drama? It was just beginning. Jackie's defense team was scrambling to contain the fallout, with behind-the-scenes reports suggesting they were doing everything they could to stop the situation from spiraling out of control. But how do you calm a storm when the storm is Jackie Christie herself? As the trial wore on, the judge became increasingly disheartened by the situation. He was forced to call a brief recess to regain his composure, all while grappling with how to handle this shocking new development. Meanwhile, Jackie's legal team was working overtime, making calls, likely to higher-ups in an attempt to pull some strings and get her out of trouble. After all, Jackie Christie wasn't just a reality TV star, she had connections. But the real question remained. Were those connections enough to save her now? Enough to save her this time? The thing is, Jackie was far too cocky. She believed she was untouchable, as if she had some invisible shield protecting her from any consequences. But as the session dragged on, things only escalated. Jackie began making even bolder accusations, claiming the judge was biased and that he was out to get her. It wasn't just the victim card she was playing. She was practically demanding everyone feel sorry for her. Meanwhile, outside the courtroom, the world was reacting in ways Jackie couldn't have anticipated. The public's response was turning out to be far more intense than she ever imagined. The public was divided. Some fans supported Jackie, saying she was just standing up for herself, while others saw her as a ticking time bomb. The backlash grew and her reputation sank. Jackie had turned a courtroom drama into a media spectacle, and TMZ was already lining up interviews with witnesses who had heard her threats. With each passing hour, the story gained more traction. Jackie Christie, the reality star who once ruled TV screens, was now the center of a real-life scandal no one saw coming. As the day wore on, Jackie's behavior grew even more erratic. It was as if she had completely lost touch with reality, making more threats, trying to shift the narrative, and even accusing the media of setting her up. But in the end, the evidence was undeniable. Jackie Christie had crossed a line. Now, it was only a matter of time before the consequences caught up with her. The fallout hit her like a ton of bricks, and just when it seemed like it couldn't get worse, the final twist emerged. Jackie Christie's mic had been live the entire time. Every threat, every whisper, every outburst, captured on tape and irrefutable. The situation had already spiraled out of control, but what came next was even more unpredictable. A chain of events unfolded that no one, not even the most experienced reporters, could have foreseen. The world was watching as Jackie Christie's courtroom meltdown became the headline everywhere. Every minute that passed brought more tension, speculation, and drama. What started as a simple courtroom session had transformed into an unfiltered live spectacle, and no one had any idea how deep the rabbit hole would go. As the controversy continued to spiral, Jackie Christie's team was in full damage control mode, desperately trying to salvage whatever dignity they could. Her lawyers, looking like they had seen a ghost, were working around the clock to clean up the mess she had created. According to inside sources, Jackie's legal team had planned. Jackie's legal team had a clear strategy: stay composed and shift the blame. But Jackie, true to form, derailed everything. Now they were scrambling to catch up. A reality TV star known for her outbursts had just threatened a judge in court, and the whole world was watching. This was no small scandal, minor slip-up. No, this was a massive public relations nightmare, one that could follow her for years. And the real tragedy? Jackie had no idea just how deep she was in trouble. Her delusional mindset seemed to be worsening with every passing minute. With her mic capturing the threats, it felt like the entire legal system had been slapped in the Wahir face. The court had no choice but to act. But the true drama wasn't even about her courtroom behavior. It was what was happening behind the scenes. Outside the courtroom, the media, the public, and even her own fans were reacting to the growing scandal. Inside, the judge had no choice but to address the elephant in the room. During the brief recess, he called for an emergency meeting with both the prosecutor and defense team. Behind closed doors, whispers filled the air. The obvious questions were being asked. Could Jackie face jail time? Would this jeopardize her entire case? Was this just the start of something much bigger than anyone had anticipated? One legal analyst pointed out that Jackie's behavior could easily lead to charges of contempt of court, a serious offense that could result in fines, suspension, or even jail time. But what did Jackie do when called out? She doubled down, playing the victim, just as she always does. "I didn't mean to threaten the judge," she allegedly told her defense team. "It was just a slip of the tongue." But come on, anyone who heard the recording knew it wasn't just a slip. It was a deliberate, pointed threat, and that, my friends, was going to be the nail in her coffin. As Jackie's legal team struggled in front of the press, the courtroom drama unfolded in real time. Outside, social media was in a frenzy. Users from every corner of the internet were dissecting every moment of Jackie's performance. Fans, critics, and even legal experts were weighing in, and what they were saying wasn't pretty. If Jackie thought she could get away with it, she was sadly mistaken. One Twitter user wrote, "She's crossed a line that no one, not even a reality TV star, can come back from." And then the first leak hit. A source close to the case revealed that Jackie's threats weren't just a moment of bad judgment. No, according to the anonymous insider, this wasn't the first time Jackie had shown such behavior. Jackie Christie had a long, troubled history of bullying, intimidation, and manipulative tactics. But now, it wasn't just her reputation at risk, it was her freedom. The insider went on to reveal that Jackie had been involved in several shady dealings, many of which could now be tied to the current charges. There were rumors that Jackie had used her fame to manipulate public opinion and allegedly pull strings behind the scenes for favorable treatment. Now, as her threats were broadcast, for the world to hear, all of those dirty little secrets were on the verge of being exposed. But the most shocking part? The source claimed that Jackie had been under investigation for much longer than anyone realized, than anyone knew. "She's been in the system's crosshairs for a while," the source said. "And this incident, in court, it might be the final straw that gets her into real trouble." As the media dug deeper into Jackie's past, things only got uglier. It turned out her courtroom outburst wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a disturbing pattern. From public tantrums to accusations of financial mismanagement, Jackie Christie's reputation as the bad girl of reality TV suddenly didn't seem so exaggerated. People began to wonder, was Jackie really as untouchable as she thought? More to Jackie's story than what we saw on TV? Was there a darker side to this reality star that we had been blind to all these years? But let's not jump ahead. Back in the courtroom, Jackie's legal team was still in full damage control mode. They were scrambling to spin the story, attempting to downplay her words and portray the outburst as a moment of emotional vulnerability. "She's a passionate woman," one of her lawyers said during a press conference. "Her emotions got the best of her, but it's important to understand the context of the situation." Yeah, sure. The context was that Jackie had threatened the judge in open court, and now the entire world was watching. While Jackie's defense team did their best to prevent the situation from spiraling further, public reaction was growing louder. On one hand, there were still people who supported her, claiming that the media had twisted her words or that she didn't deserve the backlash. On the other hand, the majority of the public was appalled by her behavior. One social media post summed it up perfectly. How can we continue to support a person who thinks it's okay to threaten a judge? Jackie Christie is a walking disaster. Meanwhile, the media frenzy surrounding Jackie's courtroom antics reached a fever pitch. It wasn't just TMZ and gossip sites anymore. Even major news outlets were covering the story. Jackie Christie's explosive outburst in court was everywhere. Her name was trending on every platform. People were riveted by the drama and demanded answers. What would happen next? Was going to happen next? Would she face criminal charges? Was her career over? Or could she somehow talk her way out of this mess, as she had done in the past? As Jackie's reputation continued to crumble, a new angle emerged. Allegations of corruption and financial mismanagement started to surface. The questions began to mount. Could this court case be a cover for something even bigger? Was Jackie Christie involved in a financial scandal? And what did her connection to certain high-profile figures really mean? The deeper people dug, the more they realized that Jackie Christie wasn't just a reality star with a temper. She was potentially a woman caught up in a web of lies, deceit, and manipulation. And with everything unfolding, it seemed like it wouldn't be long before everything came crashing down. As the world continued to reel from the chaos Jackie had unleashed in that courtroom, the question on everyone's mind was simple. What's next? The fallout from her explosive outburst was far from over, and the more people dug, the more convoluted the situation became. What started as a simple court case had now morphed into a full-fledged media circus with no signs of slowing down. By now, everyone knew about the outrageous threat Jackie had made toward the judge, but what wasn't as clear was how far-reaching the implications of her actions would be. With her reputation in tatters and her public image nearly destroyed, Jackie was facing a storm of legal and financial consequences. And while the media fed off her every move, there were even darker forces at play behind the scenes. Let's take a moment to understand the sheer gravity of what was unfolding here. It wasn't just Jackie Christie's credibility on the line. No, it was her entire career and potentially her freedom. As the days passed, whispers of criminal charges began circulating. Some legal analysts believed that Jackie's actions could lead to serious consequences, including a potential jail sentence. If convicted of contempt of court, which seemed more and more likely by the minute, Jackie could face not only jail time, but also fines that could ruin her financially for good, And that was just the beginning. Behind the scenes, Jackie's legal team was working overtime, scrambling to prevent the situation from spiraling further out of control. Reports leaked that her defense lawyers were in full panic mode, trying to work out a plea deal with the prosecution, but even that seemed like a long shot. Jackie's temper had already burned bridges, and her aggressive, combative attitude toward the judge made it almost impossible for her legal team to negotiate anything remotely favorable. Meanwhile, the public's reaction to Jackie's behavior continued to intensify. The more the media dug into her past, the uglier things became. Social media was ablaze with commentary, memes, and fiery debates about what Jackie had done. The hashtag #JackieChristieExposed was trending worldwide, with people demanding justice and calling for her to be held accountable for her actions. It wasn't just her fans who were disappointed. Even some of her former colleagues from the world of reality TV were speaking out against her. One anonymous source, a fellow reality star who had worked with Jackie on a previous project, said, "Jackie's been on this path for a long time. She's always been about herself, manipulating situations to get ahead. This is just the tip of the iceberg." The source went on to suggest that Jackie's history of outbursts and power struggles had only been glossed over because of her popularity. But now, with the world watching, people were beginning to see her for who she truly was. What was even more startling was the discovery of leaked financial records that painted a picture of someone who had been living a life of excess, funded by questionable sources. It was as if Jackie had been playing a high-stakes game with her own future, and the house of cards was beginning to crumble. Reports suggested that Jackie had been involved in a number of shady financial deals, including questionable investments, lavish spending, and unreported income. Could these financial discrepancies be tied to her actions in court? Was she using her fame to cover up a much larger financial crisis? The questions were piling up, and the answers were nowhere in sight. As more leaks came to light, things took a darker turn. One particularly juicy report claimed that Jackie was involved in a web of financial corruption, using her platform to exploit vulnerable individuals and funnel money into off-the-books accounts. According to the report, Jackie had leveraged her fame to secure favorable deals that benefited her personally while leaving others in the dust. But who were these others? That's the million-dollar question that no one could seem to answer. Yet one source, who allegedly worked closely with Jackie's financial advisors, claimed that she had been receiving large sums of money from mysterious backers, with no clear explanation of where the funds were coming from. This led to speculation that Jackie had been entangled with some unsavory individuals, people whose names remained hidden behind a veil of secrecy. The mystery deepened as investigators tried to untangle the complex web of connections Jackie had built over the years. As the pressure mounted, Jackie's public persona began to crack. Her carefully cultivated image as a tough, no-nonsense woman was beginning to unravel, and in its place was a more vulnerable, desperate figure. During one of her last public appearances, she appeared visibly shaken, her usual bravado replaced by an air of uncertainty. Was this the same woman who had once commanded attention with her fiery personality and unapologetic behavior? Or was the facade finally crumbling? In an exclusive interview with a popular gossip outlet, Jackie's closest confidant broke their silence. The source claimed that Jackie had always been misunderstood and that her actions in court were simply a result of pent-up frustration. "She's been through a lot," the source said. "She's had people constantly trying to tear her down. I think she snapped in the courtroom because she felt cornered." But was that enough to excuse her behavior? Could Jackie's personal struggles justify her blatant disrespect for the legal system? While the media and the public were still digesting the latest revelations, Jackie's legal troubles only deepened. Rumors swirled that the prosecution was planning to file additional charges against her. Some believed that Jackie's involvement in the financial scandal would only make things worse. If the prosecution could tie her courtroom outburst to her alleged financial misdeeds, the stakes would be raised to an entirely new level. As this media frenzy continued to grow, the question remained, would Jackie Christie ever be able to recover from this? Could she salvage her career and reputation, or was she doomed to a life of public disgrace? Her supporters held out hope that she would pull through, that she would somehow weather the storm and emerge unscathed. But the truth was, no one knew what the future held. One thing was clear, though. Jackie Christie had gone from being a reality TV star to a tabloid villain in record time. What was once a glamorous career had now become a cautionary tale about fame, arrogance, and the consequences of thinking you can get away with anything. And as the story unfolded, one thing was certain: the drama was far from over. With every new leak, every new revelation, Jackie's fate seemed more uncertain than ever, and the public? They were hooked, eagerly waiting to see how the final chapter of this courtroom saga would play out. So, what happens next? Will Jackie Christie face the consequences of her actions, or will she somehow find a way to wiggle out of it? Is this the beginning of the end for her career, or will she manage to make a dramatic comeback? Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, this story isn't over yet. Stay tuned, because the saga of Jackie Christie is only getting started. Well, there you have it, the drama. The explosive details of Jackie Christie's courtroom meltdown and the scandal that's shaking the foundations of her once glamorous career continue to unfold. But the question still lingers. Will she get away with it, or will she finally face the consequences for her actions? The clock is ticking, and we're all left on the edge of our seats, eagerly awaiting the next chapter in this never-ending saga. The deeper we dig into Jackie's past, the darker the picture becomes. From financial scandals to explosive court threats, it seems like there's no end to the chaos surrounding her. Enough of the drama. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more updates as this saga continues to unfold. We'll be keeping you in the loop on every shocking twist and turn, so you won't miss a thing. And we want to hear from you. Do you think Jackie Christie is about to fall from grace? Or is this just another chapter in her never-ending media circus? Is there a twist coming that will completely flip the script? Drop your thoughts, theories, and opinions in the comments below. Let's get the conversation started. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Stay tuned because things are about to get even more wild. That's right, folks. Don't forget to smash that like button. You know you want to. Subscribe to our channel and hit those notifications, because trust me, you won't want to miss the next juicy bombshell we drop. We're here to keep you in the loop with all the latest gossip, drama, and exclusive revelations straight from the hottest celebrity controversies. So, what's your take on all this? Is Jackie Christie finally done for, or is there even more chaos to come? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We're dying to hear from you, and we'll see you in the next one. Stay tuned, because we've only just started scratching the surface of this scandal. Music heat, baby. Stay heated.